Listen to me carefully. I need you fully here for this moment. Not halfway. Not distracted. Not scrolling while thinking of everything else that is weighing on your mind. Because if you truly hear what I'm about to say, something inside you will shift permanently. Something buried, something silenced, something powerful within you is ready to rise again. The reason you are here is not random. Don't let your mind tell you this is coincidence. Somewhere deep inside, beneath your exhaustion, beneath the heartbreaks you never fully expressed, beneath the disappointments you tried to pretend didn't change you, there was a whisper inside your soul that said, I want more. I deserve more. I am meant for more. And that whisper was heard. That whisper brought you here. You've been carrying questions no one else hears, pain no one else would understand, even if you tried to explain it, memories you wish would stop replaying. The why behind everything. Why did the ones you would have given everything for treat your heart like it was disposable? Why did loyalty, love, and effort not return to you in the same form you gave it? Why did you survive storms back to back, barely catching your breath before another wave came? And why, when you needed answers the most, did the universe go silent? But what if the pain was never a punishment? What if it was preparation? The kind of preparation that does not make sense while you're inside it, but becomes undeniable once you rise from it. Every heartbreak softened your heart and sharpened your intuition. Every disappointment restructured your priorities. Every period of isolation forced you to meet yourself beyond the noise of the world. You were not being broken down. You were being broken open. There is a difference. Breaking down destroys. Breaking open reveals. The people who left were not meant to walk with you into your next chapter. Their exit was not a loss, it was alignment. The opportunities that disappeared were too small for the person you are becoming. The loneliness was not abandonment, it was recalibration. God, the universe, the divine, whatever name you call the presence that breathes life into your lungs, heard your cries. But instead of giving you what you asked for, life gave you what you needed. Not comfort, growth, not easy, strong, not instant relief, eternal alignment. The silence you felt was not absence. It was the classroom. You were learning how to love without losing yourself, how to give without bleeding out, how to stand without being held, how to trust your own voice without needing others to validate your worth. And slowly, without applause, without recognition, without a witness, you began to change. You began to carry yourself differently. You began to see differently. You no longer chase. You no longer beg. You no longer shrink yourself to be accepted. You stopped apologizing for being sensitive, for caring deeply, for having a pure heart in a world that often does not know how to hold one. And yes, some people fell away because of this. They loved the version of you that needed them. They loved the version that overgave, over-explained, overextended. But that version of you did not have boundaries. That version of you did not know how to protect your own soul. That version of you was exhausted. But now look at you. You survived the ending that was supposed to break you. You lived through the chapter you thought would destroy you. You held yourself when the world did not show up for you. You are not just stronger, you are wiser. You are softer in the places that matter and unshakable in the places that once crumbled. And now, you stand in the space between who you used to be and who you are becoming. This space feels strange because it is the cocoon, the in-between, the moment before transformation becomes visible. This is where most people go back to what was familiar. But you are not here to go backwards. You did not endure everything you endured just to return to a life that does not fit you anymore. So breathe. Be willing to trust yourself more deeply than you ever have. You may not see the entire path yet, that is okay. The first step is willingness. Willingness to say, I don't know exactly where I am going yet, but I know I cannot go back. Willingness to choose yourself even when others don't understand. Willingness to believe you are worthy before the evidence arrives. Because your story is not ending. It is beginning. The part of the story where the character rises. The moment the pain reveals its purpose. Soon you will look back and say, I was being prepared. I was being strengthened. I was being refined. The tears taught you compassion. The heartbreak taught you boundaries. The disappointment taught you patience. The solitude taught you self-love. Everything was forming you. Everything mattered. And now, you are stepping not into a comeback, but into an arrival. You are becoming who you were always meant to be. This is your season of becoming. And I am honored to witness it. You're stepping into a phase of life where emotional autopilot will no longer serve you, where the reflex to numb, distract, or run will no longer be an option. This is the stage where every part of you that still clings to the old story gets brought into the light. I know that can feel uncomfortable. Growth often feels like walking barefoot across your own history, feeling every shard you once tried to ignore. But you are no longer powerless in front of your past. You are no longer controlled by memories that used to hold you captive. You have walked through internal storms that no one else witnessed, and you are still here. You are living proof that endurance can be silent and still be heroic. But hear me, you're not done. The next layer of transformation is about reclaiming what you lost while trying to survive. Your voice, your curiosity, your sense of wonder, your right to take up space. For so long, you learned to adapt to others' expectations just to avoid conflict, to stay likable, to maintain peace. You swallowed your needs, quieted your desires, dimmed your light because somewhere along the line, someone convinced you that existing fully was too much. But there comes a time in every soul's journey where the cost of suppressing who you are becomes greater than the cost of being misunderstood. You are reaching that threshold now. Your heart is tired of negotiating its own worth. Your spirit is tired of explaining its depth to those who cannot meet it. Your energy is tired of being diluted to make others feel comfortable. This is the moment where you stop editing yourself to be digestible and instead allow yourself to be undeniable. Because the world does not benefit from your silence. The world does not heal from your shrinking. The world does not transform when you pretend to be smaller than you are. So part is not about reflecting on who hurt you or what broke, it's about who you choose to become now that you know your own value. I want you to remember something. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out, stand tall, stand whole. Your sensitivity is not a flaw, it is a superpower. Your empathy is not weakness, it is emotional intelligence in its purest form. Your ability to feel deeply is not a burden, it is evidence that your heart is still alive, still open, still willing to love and be loved even after everything. That is strength most people will never understand. But this new chapter requires honesty. Not the kind of honesty you offer others, but the kind you owe yourself. The honesty of admitting what you truly want. The honesty of acknowledging what no longer aligns. The honesty of accepting that some things you once prayed for are too small for the person you are now. You cannot carry outdated versions of yourself into a future that demands expansion. You cannot keep choosing what is familiar simply because it is familiar. Comfort is not always alignment. Safety is not always peace. Some situations feel safe only because they match your wounds, not your worth. And deep down, you already know this. You've felt the discomfort inside your spirit when something no longer fits. You've felt the quiet pull towards something bigger, even if you can't name it yet. That's your intuition, the internal compass that was always guiding you even when you pretended not to hear it. It's getting louder now. It's telling you to rise, to release the roles you played to survive environments that were never meant to hold your greatness, to let go of identities that were shaped by fear rather than authenticity, to unclench the fist around what you've outgrown. Yes, letting go feels like loss at first, but staying where you no longer belong is self-abandonment. And you promised yourself you would not abandon yourself again. So here we are, standing in front of the next doorway. And I hope you understand this clearly. No one is coming to open it for you. Not because you are alone, but because this door is motion activated by courage. The moment you take the step, the path will reveal itself. But the step must come first. Not when you feel ready. Not when everything makes sense. But now, you don't rise because it's comfortable. You rise because your spirit refuses to sink anymore. You rise because something in your soul is remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. You rise because the future you are walking toward is already calling your name. You rise because you have survived too much, learned too much, transformed too deeply to remain where you were. So say it, even if your voice shakes. I am not going back. Say it again. I am not going back. One more time with your chest. I am not going back. Because the chapter ahead is not built from fear. It is built from self-respect, from intentional love, from clarity, from grounded truth. You are not the same person who wandered in confusion. You are not the same person who tolerated disrespect. You are not the same person who doubted your worth. You are becoming a person who chooses alignment over attachment, peace over proving, depth over convenience, self-love over self-sacrifice. And once you choose yourself, the entire universe begins to rearrange. Watch. The right people will find you. The right opportunities will unfold. The right timing will reveal itself. Because when you stop settling, you stop blocking what was meant for you. You are stepping into the kind of life that matches your soul, not your wounds. And you are ready. You have always been ready. You just needed to remember. My dear one, I want you to settle for a moment into a softness that maybe you haven't let yourself feel in a very long time. A softness that does not ask you to perform, to be strong, to explain, or to prove anything to anyone, including yourself. Because right now, you don't need to be anything other than here, breathing, existing, present in the quiet truth of your own being. And I want you to notice as we begin, how your breath moves in and out, as if it has been waiting for this gentle permission to slow down, to unwind, to release its grip on all the things it has been holding. Because life has asked a lot of you, hasn't it? It has asked you to keep walking when your legs felt heavy, to speak kindly when your heart was aching, to show up when you felt invisible, to trust even after disappointment traced its fingerprints across the deepest parts of your spirit. And though you did not always feel prepared, you did it anyway, because something in you, something quiet and ancient and wise, has always known that you were meant to continue, no matter what tried to discourage you. And that part of you, that inner knowing, is what we are returning to right now, slowly, gently, like someone walking toward a light they remember but haven't seen in a while. And as we walk, I want you to remember something important, something you may have forgotten in the noise of survival. Nothing you have experienced has been wasted. Nothing you have carried was meaningless. Nothing you have felt disqualified you from love or peace or healing or hope. Not one tear diminished your worth. Not one heartbreak made you less deserving. And not one mistake removed you from the path that has always been yours. Because your life is not measured by how perfectly you have traveled it, but by the courage it took to continue becoming, even when the becoming felt unclear, heavy, or painfully slow. And I know there were moments when the world felt too loud and your spirit felt too tired, when the emotions were too complicated to untangle, when you didn't know how to ask for help, or maybe didn't feel like you were allowed to, because somewhere along the way you learned to carry everything alone. And that loneliness didn't just live around you, it lived inside you. Quiet, steady, familiar, as if it was the only thing you could trust. And yet, even in that loneliness, your heart kept beating, your breath kept returning, your hope flickered like a tiny flame that refused to be blown out. And that flame is why we are here now, because that flame is your proof, your evidence, your reminder that you were never broken beyond repair. You were simply growing in ways that others could not see. You were stretching into a life that had not yet arrived. You were becoming someone you had not yet met. And becoming is rarely gentle. It is a process of shedding, releasing, unlearning, and remembering. And I want you to feel how those words settle into your chest, not as something dramatic or overwhelming, but as something soft, like warm light. Because healing does not always rush in like a wave. Sometimes it arrives like a sigh, like a quiet realization that maybe, just maybe, you never needed to carry so much alone. And even now, in this moment, something in you is loosening, something is softening, something is exhaling, something is remembering what it feels like not to fight yourself. And I want you to know, truly know, that there was nothing wrong with you for feeling overwhelmed at times, for breaking down, for needing to withdraw, for needing silence, for needing space, because your heart needed room to mend, to process, to find its rhythm again, and nobody else had access to that inner landscape except you, so nobody else had the right to judge the way you healed. And if you are still healing, still learning, still searching, that does not mean you are behind. It means you are human, beautifully and tenderly human. And healing is not a finish line. It is a relationship with yourself, a relationship that grows deeper every time you choose to look inward with gentleness rather than criticism, with compassion rather than pressure. And you deserve that compassion. You deserve that gentleness, because there is a softness inside you that has not been lost, only guarded, only waiting for safety. And you are safe here, safe to feel, safe to breathe, safe to acknowledge the weight you've carried without needing to justify or defend it, safe to unfold in your own time, at your own pace, without rushing, without pushing, without striving, just being, breathing, returning, because your soul has always known its way home, even when your mind could not map the path. And I want you to notice, as you sit with these words, how your chest slowly begins to open, how your shoulders begin to loosen, how the quiet inside you begins to expand, like a soft meadow after a long winter, like sunlight warming something that has been cold for too long. And in that warmth, something long misunderstood begins to make sense, because all the times you felt unseen were not proof that you were unworthy of being seen. They were moments preparing you to recognize what real recognition feels like. All the times you were not chosen did not mean you were unworthy of being chosen. They were clearing the way for the spaces and the people who are aligned with your truth, Not the version of you that had to shrink to be loved, but the version of you that can be loved while being whole, honest, and unmasked. And I know the journey to this realization was not simple. It was layered, complex, and full of emotions that did not have names. But look at you now, listening, softening, opening, beginning to understand yourself with a gentleness you did not have before. And this right here is where transformation begins, not with force, not with pressure, not with urgency, but with tenderness, breath, presence, and the willingness to believe that healing is not something you chase, it is something you allow, something that rises from within you when you stop fighting your experience and begin trusting your becoming. And I want you to trust something now. Trust that you are exactly where you need to be in this moment, not because everything makes sense, but because your spirit is awakening to clarity that cannot be rushed. And soon, the confusion that once felt suffocating will begin to lift, slowly, gently, like fog dissolving into the morning sun. And you will not need to force answers, because the answers will begin to reveal themselves in the calm awareness that comes after surrender. And you will realize that the peace you were searching for was never outside of you. It was the part of you that was waiting for you to stop running, stop proving, stop performing, and simply return to yourself. And now that you are here, present, breathing, softening, I want you to place one hand on your heart, gently, tenderly, as though you are comforting someone you deeply love, and feel the warmth of your own touch, the life beneath your skin, the quiet power that has carried you through everything you thought you wouldn't survive. And I want you to whisper, even if only inside your mind, I am here, and I am allowed to heal. Allow those words to move through you like warm water, soothing the places that once held tension, worry, fear, and doubt. And feel how your heart responds, not with words, but with a soft, steady awareness that you are no longer abandoning yourself. You are choosing yourself. And this choice, this quiet, gentle choice, is what changes everything. Because healing does not happen in one dramatic moment. It happens in these small, sacred choices. The choice to be present, the choice to listen to yourself, the choice to treat your own heart with kindness, the choice to believe that your softness is not weakness, but the place where your deepest strength grows. And as you feel this truth settle into your spirit, I want you to remember something important. You are worthy of love that feels safe, love that feels steady, love that does not confuse you or diminish you or demand that you earn your place. You are worthy of rest that does not feel like guilt, worthy of joy that does not feel like a temporary accident, worthy of peace that does not require you to shrink. And that worthiness has always been yours, even in the moments when you could not feel it, even when the world made you doubt it, even when your own thoughts made you question it, because your worth is not something that can be taken, only forgotten. And all we are doing here is remembering, slowly, gently, patiently, like someone tracing their way back to a familiar home they have not seen in years, but have never truly lost. And as this remembering continues, I want you to imagine yourself standing at the threshold of a new beginning, not one that requires you to rush or push or prove anything, but one that unfolds at the pace of your own breath, naturally, organically, with ease. And I want you to feel how the person you are becoming walks differently, speaks differently, loves differently. Not because you are trying to be different, but because life, healing, and growth have shaped you into someone who understands the value of peace, presence, and inner truth. and you will notice that your heart begins to choose differently, choosing what nurtures instead of what drains, choosing what aligns instead of what impresses, choosing what feels honest instead of what feels convenient, choosing what feels like love instead of what feels like longing. And this, my dear one, is the quiet power that your journey has awakened, a power that does not need to shout, does not need to demand, does not need to be performed, because it simply is, steady and true, like a soft flame that cannot be extinguished. And now, as we come to the end of this moment together, I want you to breathe again, slowly, deeply, a breath that feels like returning home to yourself. And I want you to hear these final words, not as instructions, but as a remembering of what your soul already knows. You do not need to rush. You are already on your way. You do not need to prove your worth. You have always been enough. You do not need to fear what comes next. Your spirit is ready. And when the world feels heavy again, when the old pain tries to return, when doubt whispers softly at the edges of your mind, I want you to place your hand on your heart once more and whisper, I choose to be gentle with myself. Because softness is not the opposite of strength. Softness is where your strength finds its peace. And now, my dear one, walk forward slowly, calmly, knowing that you are allowed to heal, you are allowed to grow, and you are allowed to live a life that feels like love from the inside out.